everybody, my name is Erin and I am a teacher turned homeschooler, and today I wanted to share with you 3 ways you are teaching your child more effectively than a teacher could. Teachers are supposed to be teaching their students in a way that they can meet the needs of every single child. And I'm here to tell you, in a class of 15 students or a class of 35 students or a class of 120 students, I've seen all those ranges. There is no way that a teacher can do that effectively. When a teacher has a class size of 12 or more students, they're going to do a base lesson, and then they're going to do what's called scaffolding to reach children on all spectrums. So they're going to take that base lesson and they're going to have kind of an easier option, and they're going to have a more advanced option. And those are the ways they're going to reach most students' needs in their classroom. But there's no way they can modify to meet the needs of every child in that classroom. For example, if your child is not on an individualized education plan, which means IEP, I would not be able to change the way I grade or assign your child work. There's a couple of exceptions, but I would not be able to change the way that I grade your child's assignment or the expectations I have for your child without that individualized education plan. So let's say your child is at a middle school level and they're struggling to write a sentence. The expectation for the majority of the class is that they would be able to write a 5 to 7 sentence paragraph within our class time and be graded on that. If that child gets tested for an individualized education plan or an IEP and does not meet the requirements to need an IEP, I still have to grade that child at the same level I would grade everybody else's assignment in that class. I could recognize that that student needs help. I could spend extra time with that student as I can, but remember, I've got 30 students that all have different needs. So trying to spend that time with that student is going to be difficult, and that's just one class hour. Through the whole day, I have 90 students or 120 students or 200 students. There's no way that I'm gonna have the time that that student needs to catch her up to speed. And, little factoid here, and due to No Child Left Behind, that child will more than likely not be held back at a middle school level. In high school, they might fail classes and have to take classes over again, but that student will not be held back even though they're years behind in their writing abilities. As a homeschool parent, let's say you're in the same situation. You have a child that is a middle schooler that is not quite prepared to write a complete sentence. You could grab a curriculum that is at her level and reteach those gaps in her learning that she has. You could use free resources from the internet to add to what you're teaching to her to help fill in the learning gaps that she has. You could pause the curriculum you're learning right then. Maybe she's reading at a high level and you want to continue that same grade level of reading with her, but she's just not getting how to write that information down. So at that point, maybe you pause the curriculum you're working on and just work on the couple of areas that she needs work on for a couple of months to catch her up to speed with where the rest of the curriculum's at. And another thing you could do, you could give her 2 different parts to 2 different curriculums. As a homeschool parent, it's completely up to you. There are no boundaries, and your child will excel with their own individualized education that's not hindered by a government saying they need an individualized education. Number 2, you can lean in to your child or your family's interests and hobbies. You, as a homeschool parent, don't have to bend your life around an 8-hour school day. You could do school in the afternoon after participating in an elite swim team. You could do your school early in the morning to accommodate for a traveling sports team, or art classes, or dance lessons. I once had a student in our co-op that used homeschooling to allow her to travel with a gymnastics group and perform in places like Las Vegas, professional sports teams' halftime shows, and her family, they all just traveled with her because she had this insane talent that they wanted to continue to cultivate in their child, and homeschooling allowed them to do that. So whatever your child's interest is, you're going to be able to curate your life around that rather than your life be curated by the public school system. While I believe that children need a well-rounded education, you can also lean into your child's interests when it comes to what you teach them. You can add in extra art lessons. You can add in extra piano or guitar lessons to your child's day. You can focus more on engineering or building, or make those lessons come alive with more kinesthetic learning, which is like building as you learn things or doing things more hands-on. Whatever your child is interested in, you can easily add throughout your school week as you think they need that, to give them the education you want them to have. You can choose books that your child is interested in. I can't tell you how many books I was assigned in high school that were the most horrible reads in the world. Even today, as somebody who is a veteran teacher and has been homeschooling for 3 years and running a co-op for 3 years, I can say with full assurance that there are some books out there that are assigned year after year that are not getting any more exciting and that do not hold most children's interests. So as you are choosing your child's curriculums, you also get to choose books that can keep them interested in what they're learning and fully engage them in the learning experience. There are many books for many different lessons that can all apply to the same concepts that are trying to be taught. They don't have to be these super old, classic, hard to follow stories that some of our students hate and that you may have hated in school. And as an English teacher, there's still some books to this day that I cannot recommend. I don't care how high on the classic lists they are. Grapes of Wrath, I'm talking to you. Number 3, and this is an important one. You are probably finishing your child's curriculum. I had an aha moment my first year of homeschooling when I felt like I was falling behind with my child. The lessons weren't always going according to plan. You know how it goes as a homeschool mom. Things can sometimes be a little messier than you thought they were going to be. I realized as I was teaching my child, I don't know of a single year I spent teaching, and I taught for 7 years. I can't think of a single year I taught where I was able to teach all the curriculum I had planned in the year. I can say for certain that every single year, most teachers do not finish every lesson that they thought they were going to teach that year. If you were a teacher and you finished every lesson that you had planned for the year, I would love you to comment below and tell me how you did it, because there was not a year that an assembly or a snow day or having to slow down to what my class's needs were that made it so I could never finish all that I had planned for that school year. There are things that you're going to miss as a teacher, and guess what? The next grade teacher is going to just grab those students and teach them through the lessons that she has planned. And unfortunately, when those things happen, a lot of times you get learning gaps. You guys may not finish your curriculum in one school year. You may slow it down. You may notice that your child knows something well already, so you may skip a few lessons, or you may go faster through a curriculum with your child because you recognize that they've got it. But I would bet that you're not skipping big chunks of curriculum in a year and then skipping on to the next year's curriculum. If you're doing that, I recommend slowing down and making sure that your child doesn't have learning gaps, because that's what the public school system is doing most of the time. And we're not the public school system. We're homeschooling to avoid this, and this is one way that you are going to be teaching your child better than a public school teacher can. So guys, those are 3 ways that you are right now teaching your child better than a public school teacher could. I'm sure there's many ways that I missed, so please comment below on ways that you think you're teaching your child better than a school teacher can. Maybe I'll do another video with some of the ideas that you add below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe below so that I know that this is content you like and I can continue making more content like this. Have a great day, guys. God bless you.